Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to do another rehouse of one of our baboon spiders, and we're going to do the Ceratogyrus marshalli, which is the Great Horned Baboon or the Straight Horned Baboon. Now these are really classy spiders, we like these, and they're more of a fossorial spider. So we're going to set this particular enclosure up in a fossorial way. So again, we're going to be using one of our favourites, the 30 by 30 by 30 Komodo. So we're going to fill that up. Again, this is just our peat-based compost. Now these are quite an interesting spider in terms of their temperature range and also the conditions they live in. And these guys like it relatively dry for half the time and quite wet for the other half, which is rather interesting. What we do, I don't need a huge amount. Just a little bit more in there. Throwing it in. Oh. Right, I think that will do for that. What we're going to do, just press that down a little bit, give it a little bit of firmness. Now we're going to try and have a plant in here. So we've chosen this one here. This is more for decoration now. We're just going to just gives it another dimension. So we're going to look for that. Pop that in there. So this is going to be planted directly. Like so. That looks quite nice like that. Now what we're going to do is to add to it, we've got some, almost I think they call this petrified wood. So what we're going to do, we're going to see if we can't make something, give this a little bit of an extra kind of thing. We'll put some of that in there. Bring them off. Now what we're going to try and do is get her to, we want her to sort of, I would like her to burrow down in here. So what I'm going to try and do is encourage her to go in that particular area, which might be easier said than done, because we also want something that's visually quite interesting as well. So I think maybe we'll go with that like so. And then, you know what, we're going to just fill that in. I think we're going to add a little bit more soil into the back here. And what we're doing is we're creating different plateaus. With a hope that we can get her to go where we want her to be. I think if we can do this, I don't know if this is going to work. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tunnel under there. Hopefully she'll bury down into that. Got some bits of stone here. This is dragon stone. I don't know whether we can do this. Don't quite see how this is going to work. Right. She's not giving me what I want. That's better. You see, we just have to play around until we get to where we hope to be. It's going to be too much. What we're trying to do is we're trying to create an area that she will go down into. Bearing in mind that these are quite often known as a pet hole, we're going to try and make this as visually interesting as possible rather than just looking at a pet hole. So we'll put a little bit of stuff up in here. And if we're really lucky, we'll encourage her to get down in there. I think we can stick a little bit of that like so. There we go. I think that's about right. That's looking reasonable. Just give a small water bowl here. Now what we might find is that we need to change things a little bit as she settles in, because she will web up quite a lot and she'll move things around a little bit. So now what we've done with our stone, we've made sure that our stone is actually stable. It's not actually going to go anywhere because we don't want her burrowing down and we don't want it collapsing. So we have to be a little bit careful with that. I think that will about do it. And what we're hoping is she'll actually burrow down into here and then she'll web up over the top here and keep this pretty clean. I don't know whether we can tickle that in there like that. Oh, there we go, look at that, that's better. Now we're giving us some different options. That's better, I like that. Right, let's find the young lady. see what we've got. Now then, here she is. Absolutely stunning looking spider. Now you can see there quite clearly. Hopefully you can pick out the horn on her. And she's called a straight horned baboon because it pretty much goes up almost vertically. Now there's varying ideas as to what the use of this horn actually is. Some seem to think that it might actually be attached to their inner stomach, so that the muscle around the stomach, so they can actually draw food up through and into the horn and use it in times of drought and things like that. Now, bearing in mind these guys come from Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and half of the year is wet and half of the year is really dry. So maybe in the dry times, these guys, they require this extra sustenance, a bit like a camel really. So, but it's still a little bit in the air as to whether this is true or not. Now what we're going to do is we're going to transfer her over. Now these are a defensive spider. They're quite unpredictable, and they're not shy when it comes to looking after themselves. So they're very quick. So we have to be a little bit careful about how we catch this up. So hopefully she's going to sit still, and I'm going to be able to get this box on top. She's not going to be particularly happy about this. So here we go. There we go. As you can see, we've got rather big gaps all the way around. We have to watch our fingers. Nice and gently. There we go, nice and gently. Let's move her over. That's it, now she is in. She's absolutely gorgeous. Now what we've just taken her from was her temporary housing, and this is now going to be her permanent housing. And hopefully we can get her off. There we go. Through. I just want her to walk off. As you can see, she's absolutely stunning. Nice and gentle. And there you go, she's in. Now you note there we saw no aggression again. Very well behaved, and you can clearly see that horn now. Very beautiful species of baboon this. Now you've got the marshalli here, and you also have the darlingi, which is a very similar baboon spider, except that the baboon is more angled towards the rear, and they are often known as the rear horned baboon. Now, temperature wise with these guys, they do like it warm, bearing in mind Africa, so they're coming from temperatures as high as the upper 80s where these guys come from, but then they do like a nighttime drop as well, so they'll actually go down in temperature quite low. So in terms of husbandry, these really require seasonal change, so their seasons aren't far different from ours. So we can, I think, get away with literally following our summer temperatures, and then in our winter time we can flood them, make them take, you know, knock the humidity up even more so, and give them that wet period that they would normally have in the wild. And then as we come back into our spring, we can start to dry them out, but we still require, although we want a dry substrate, we still require a high humidity, and we'll see how they go. So I think you'll agree, she's an absolutely stunning looking spider. And I think we can, I don't know how we're, so we don't get a massive reflection. Now I'm hoping, all being well, although this is a fossorial species, that she will dig down in there and she'll web up the front of this little cave here, and hopefully she will actually sit in the entrance to that waiting for her food. And in a bit of luck, we'll actually see a bit more of her as well out and about. In her temporary enclosure, she spent all of her time sitting on top of the bark. So we might see more of her than we expect. It'll be an interesting thing. I think in one of our other videos we mentioned that we are trying different things with different fossorial spiders, because I do believe that given the right situation, and if you can keep them calm, they do appear to spend more time out and about. So maybe we won't have a pet hole. This is the aim. This is what we're hoping for. Right then, well, I hope you enjoyed that. A little look into the inside of our Straight Horned Baboon. And as you can see, a fairly well behaved one as well. With gentle handling, they're nice and calm. And this is what we're looking for. Right then, so without further ado, don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spiders. I'll see you soon, guys.